Hey everybody, welcome back. What a surprise. The plugin that is called Slap by UJAM, the virtual bassist, actually is even a better picker than a slapper in my opinion. These are just the first impressions. Let me get started. Here's a little piece I would like you to play. You remember Stevie Wonder, Do I Do? That incredible bass solo? Let's look a little deeper at these sounds here. So you may notice there's a little bit of a distortion on it. It has a fuzz parameter built in, but I also added Saturn 2 tube saturation to it. Let me take it off, and you'll see even alone, without that, it has enough fuzz in it. But I just thought this sounds warmer. So the combination of those two is really nice. So here's, first of all, without Saturn 2. So that sounds okay, right? But there's something that happens when I turn Saturn on. That saturation, it's very distorted on the record. It's just delicious what it does to the sound. So I'm going to leave it in if it's okay with you guys. So the moment I started playing with it, I realized, wait a minute, this is something that none of my other plugins, not even Trillion, does. You know, the sliding from note to note. Obviously, this has legato mode, and I can turn it on. So. A fourth I can do. So, okay, so it covers a third, but not a fourth. And that's okay, that's perfectly fine. By the way, should you desire to slide on up towards a certain note, you could do the following trick. I actually have a little keyboard here next to my master keyboard, which has buttons on it. It's actually a Korg Nano Control, with which I can control the functions here on the left part of the mode field, so to speak. So for example, if I press, I can turn legato on or off. With this button, for example, I can use the dead notes. And thank God the dead notes are dynamic, so they sampled in many velocity layers, which is really good. It's not a super dynamic plugin to be sure, which I always prefer when they really have a lot of dynamic range. But this just sits right where the bass should sit with the right amount of growl in it. So this is a tremendous deal. Right now, I was able to buy it for $59. Just incredible. It's really cool. Okay, that's the dead notes. Later on, let's take a look at the slides here. There's a whole host of them. Let's take a look at what we could do, for example, if we slide up from E. There, you obviously have to, press this modus button. And then as soon as you hit your target note, you're going to have to let go of it. Takes a little practice. Same thing here in the lower register. Very useful. And they have a whole bunch of them. Let me play a few of these slides that are in there. So somewhere in there, you're going to find something. So these are the slide downs. Let's take a look here. Very well recorded. In this case, they're actually not dynamic. So unfortunately, you only have one dynamic range available. Okay, now this button over here gives you a slide up and down. Whole bunch of useful things. Let's take a look at the parameters that we can work with. I'm going to turn Saturn off so we can, again, hear the naked sound. want to turn the fuzz off a little bit. Fuzz is a little bit, got a lot of treble on it, and I wish it could be tamed, but it's still useful if dialed in subtly. For right now, I'm going to leave it off. Let's take a look at the different characters. Strong. Oh, that's good. Sharp is what we just worked on. Let's go to full. Sounds more like a jazz bass position now. Very nice. Tame, what's tame like? Sounds nice. My favorite setting, clearly, is sharp. And then I got several amps in here, which you can experiment. I use direct because I find them a little intense, but let's take a look at them. Reckless. That will need some EQing, because if you put that into track, it just clouds a lot of stuff up around 250 hertz. It's still a good amp sim. I like it. Rough. And then, of course, let's not forget that you have a drive control over here for these amp sims. Yeah, it's too mid-rangey to do that kind of sound that I was driving at with the Nathan Watts sound. And then we got subtle. What's that? Oh, that's nice. That's really for these very warm tones. Let's go back to direct and then experiment a little bit with some of the other things. You notice that I always work with a drop D. Why not grab the extra note when you have it available? The general EQ over here. Let me switch the finisher off. So all the low punch is maintained. It gets a little extra here on the sub frequencies. I tend to go a little bit above neutral. Compressor is slightly on. Let me just max it out a little bit. Of course, your usable dynamic range obviously comes down quite a bit, but it brings a nice bit of loudness in. So that's my favorite setting. It's really neat. Okay, now let's do it justice and try out the slap. And I will say with some reservation that I have the feeling that it's not as strong as a slapper as it is a picker. Here's a setting. I call it Abe to honor my dear friend Abe Laboriel, who I just adore and have learned so much from over the years, just hearing him just beat it up in the clubs in LA, especially when he was playing with his son. Oh my God, what an experience. So here's my Abe setting. See, I've got a little bit of a thing prepared for you guys. Listen to this. So just right there, you notice that it's something happening. There's a dead note in there. Ba, 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 ba. That's done because we've got the dead notes right here. So you can see that there is a controller was being clicked, which is this guy here. That turned the dead notes on for the time being. And that's how I came up with this result. So it's got a lot of character, a lot of spunk, It's these are not the cleanest samples for me. However, what they do have is attitude. There's a lot of attitude and a lot of, grit in the samples itself. And you can see I've got the fuzz turned down to 0. Character is again set the sharpest to clearest one. NDI without any drive. Just a slight bit of compression. Let me turn the compression off. No, I think the compression is very well befits it. Let me bring it up, actually. That works. They're just a little overblown here on these notes. But then again, that's attitude. That's good too. Okay, now this is an interesting setting. The combi setting allows you to switch between those modes. You may see over here, the fingering mode is turned on, and it highlights the finger, and then returns back to slap mode when I let go of this button. So what I could do is conceivably this. So you can use a combination mode between those two, which is, of course, physically impossible for a player to do, but it's lovely to have that option in a track. All right, so that's my first view, somewhat in depth, into UJAM's Slap plugin, which should be called Slap and a hell of a picker, because I could not find any plugin, be that my absolute favorite and go-to, a Trillion, which covers so many things incredibly well. But this particular sound, when I found it, I thought, oh my God, that sounds just like Nathan, you know, just it's incredible. You know, I'm such a fan because, you know, guys, growing up musically in LA, that's really when my growing up started to take place. Going to these clubs and hear guys like Abe or John Patitucci standing in the clubs and playing their tails off, and the sounds that would come out of the amp, you could just viscerally feel it. That's the sound that I now look for in these plugins, so that they can be a vital part of the virtual instrument experience, you know, because it just enables you to get your dreams and just the right timing and the right feel and the right funk and the right attitude. And when that plugin came out and I bought it, I thought, okay, I'll get another slap bass added to my arsenal, although I don't use a lot of slap basses anymore these days. And then I found that fingered sound and I go like, whoa, hold it. Best spent $59 in the last few years, without a doubt, you know. But it's also, as you can hear, a really decent slapper. And it can be, it's got a whole bunch of flexibility, and the legato mode is really helpful. In the meantime, pick up a copy, UJAM Virtual Bassist Slap, and especially if you look for an awesome fingered bass. You know, imagine you can play just Texas shuffles with it, you know, blues and these R&B things. It's just fantastic. So that's my kudos to another useful and reasonable plugin by UJAM. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more coming. Right now, I'm at about 1 or 2 videos a week. I can't wait to show you guys more of what's going on in the production template over here at the Creation Station. For now, I'm going to sign out with my best wishes. God bless everybody. Stay creative, stay healthy, and stay at it. Peace.